Welcome back, guys. It's 36 Chambers of Fog, and today I've got the One Piece chapter 1059, the matter involving Captain Koby. Now, before I start talking about this chapter, I want you guys to like the video, subscribe to the channel, make sure to hit the notification bell, and make sure to comment down below your guys' thoughts on One Piece chapter 1059. But without no further ado, let's get into it. And what we see straight away is we see that the chapter starts off on Sphinx Island. Well, not specifically on Sphinx Island, but we see that Marco the Phoenix is being dropped off by the red-haired pirates. Now that raises questions to me. I'm wondering, how did Marco meet up with Shanks? What did they talk about on the way back there, on the way back to Sphinx Island? Again, questions, but we don't get answers to it in this chapter. But you guys tell me what you guys think. Now we cut back to an earlier time in Wano, and this must have been just before the Straw Hats set sail, because Yamato's there and speaking with Jinbei, speaking with Luffy, and I believe Sanji and Zoro's there, and Yamato basically just says, "I can't come with you guys. I can't come after what." Pause. I can't come with you guys because of what just happened when the Admiral tried to come for your head and attack Wano. I can't go. The country needs me. Momonosuke needs me. The Scabbards needs me, and I can't set sail on good conscience, knowing that all the worries back home, basically. So, I mean, Luffy's against it, but he understands. I mean, anyone would in that situation, and so I guess Luffy, he accepts it. He accepts it. There's nothing else to say. He accepts what. But what can Luffy do? It is Yamato's homeland. But one thing Zoro does mention is that to just remember that Momo's got a lot of pride, and this is where Yamato says, "Don't worry, I'm going to search for something to keep myself busy." What is she going to search for? What? I do believe that Yamato is going to be the one who uncovers the ancient weapon in Wano. That's going to be a Yamato's quest. But you guys comment down below, tell me what you think. I may release a video on that later on. You guys comment down below if that's something you guys would want to hear. But carrying on in this chapter, we see Marco again, and this time he's speaking with Jinbei and Luffy. So this is all taking place just before the Straw Hats set sail from Wano, and basically Luffy just says thanks for everything he did in the Paramount War, and when Yamato's like, not Yamato, sorry, and Marco's just like, it's fine, we all just jumped into action, we just it's second nature to us. So. But another thing he says, which I do like, is a nice sweet moment, is when Marco says to Luffy that Ace would be so proud to see how much you've grown, and that really puts a big grin on Luffy's face. And now we cut back to the modern day, and not the modern day, just before Marco flies off and leaves Wano. He says to himself, this next era belongs to you guys, so keep your wits about you. Now this is a bit of foreshadowing on what happens later on in this chapter, and what we see, we flash forward back to it's still a few weeks ago, so this all happens before the Straw Hats set sail, and this is taking place in Amazon Lily. Now, as we know, the former warlords were abolished, so none of the warlords, Amazon Lily, Boa Hancock and all the others, they no longer have the protection of the world government, and we see the Empress Boa Hancock with Gloriosa, one of the former empresses of the Kuja, and like I said, the Marines are attacking. And what else does Boa Hancock? All she's thinking about is Luffy. Oh, I just want right now to be married to Luffy. And again, it's a bit of levity in this chapter, but it's not there for long, because we cut back to outside of Amazon Lily, sending new Seraphim pacifistas to the forefront, and this is Vice Admiral Ayamakiji who's giving out these orders, because he's the one in charge of this attack. But we do see the new pacifistas. They are called the Seraphim. Now the Seraphim or Seraph, I believe what the name is. I believe the word Seraphim is the plural. The singular word is a seraph. But besides that, in religion, in Christianity, Islam, and Judaism, we see that the seraph or seraphim are always mentioned in high regard. In often they are the protectors of, or they are the protectors or caretakers of God's throne in Christianity, and I think similar in Judaism and Islam. I'm not 100% sure. You guys can comment down below and tell me, are there any other connections that Seraphim have? Because the ones that come across to me straight away are the ones from Christianity. But these Seraphim, again, the new pacifistas, they look a lot different. Like one of them is the size of, like, they're the size of small kids, or one of them's the size of one of them is a girl, a young girl. And one of the Kuja pirates mentions, Captain, she's so strong and I can't fight a girl that size. The two pacifistas, because they do mention that one of the pacifistas resembles one of the former Amazon Lily inhabitants who were captured by the world government. Now you guys can comment down below and tell me what you think is going on, because I'm still trying to unravel this in my head. Like I said, I want to drop a video later on in the day or tomorrow to discuss this in more detail. But right after this pacifistas attack, one of the low-ranking Marines, I don't know who they are, some no-name scrub. Watch out! There's battleships. Who? Guys, who is on these battleships? Who? It's Blackbeard. We see Blackbeard, and he's at Amazon Lily. What? Yo! The Emperor Blackbeard has entered the scene, and the two people he's got with him, we see he's got a Vasco shot and Katarina Devon. Now we know Katarina Devon has the mythical zone, nine-tailed fox. We don't know if Vasco shot has a devil fruit. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. I do personally think it would be very apt for him to have the bomb fruit. Now you guys comment down below and tell me what devil fruit you think Vasco shot could potentially have. I'm sorry, but I'm just excited because we see Blackbeard, and sorry. I do enjoy a good villain, and I do believe that Blackbeard is one of the better villains in One Piece, and I want to talk about that at another time, because we still need to talk about what's going on. Because obviously Blackbeard is after the devil fruits. He's hunting devil fruits, and he's after Boa Hancocks. That's why he's here. Of course he is. Why wouldn't he be? And he's attacking as well. He's attacking the Marines, and he's making his way to Boa. Now this is a bit sadistic, and because we do know that Katarina Devon has a thing for cutting off of beheading women who are very beautiful, and she mentions that she wants to take out Boa Hancock, and Blackbeard mentions, so long as I get the love fruit, it's cool, you can do what you want. And but then it turns even more sinister, because you hear Vasco shot like, oh, can't we take her back and be good friends with her, implying other things. Obviously, I'm not going to go into details there. But we do see a showcase of Blackbeard's abilities, and he seems to have a lot more control over the Quake fruit, because we see him doing earthquakes, like sea quakes, earthquakes under the sea. So that was something he couldn't do before, and now we're seeing more of his powers, and we do see him displaying armament hockey later on as well. And we see Koby as well. We see my boy Koby, the hero of the Marines, as he's called, and we find out why. We find out a bit more on how he got that title. And Koby, the hero he's trying to get Boa and the Kuja to surrender. But more importantly, he does specify, we just want you, Boa. We're not gonna hurt you. We're just gonna take you into custody and leave. I promise. The rest of Amazon Lily will be safe. I promise. And obviously, Boa doesn't believe this. She's not gonna believe the world government, the Navy. And she says this nonsense, I follow no man's orders, obviously, because this is Boa Hancock. She bows to no man. This is the whole point of the Kuja pirates and women of Amazon Lily. They are a One Piece representation of the Amazons that we see in Greek lore, myth and mythology. In Greek lore and mythology. And while this is all going on, I do have to remind you that that these two pacifistas are attacking. Remember, the world government sent two of them. One of them looks like a former member of Amazon Lily, and the other one, someone mentioned. Well, I went on the One Piece wiki, and it mentions that it looks like a young Mihawk. Now that raises even more questions, because it doesn't really specify this in the chapter. I mean, you guys can tell me if it does or if I've missed that. But they don't mention anything about the new pacifistas, the Seraphim, looking like Mihawk, but it mentions that in the One Piece wiki. Again, more theories. I'm going to talk about this later on, once I've had even more time to reread the chapter. And yeah, but further on, Blackbeard does mention you gotta be because Blackbeard notices this. And remember, Blackbeard, he's he's not historian, but he's fascinated with the history of the world. That's one thing he tends to study, and he recognizes the particular look of these pacifistas. He mentions white hair and brown skin and black wings. Now we already know that those are the traits of Lunarian, like King. So somehow the world government has managed to extract the lineage factor from the Lunarians somehow. Maybe that was when King was captured by the world government and Kaido freed him. But just now, Vegapunk has managed to incorporate that into pacifistas or potentially clone bodies. Again, I'm gonna talk about the Seraphim in another video. I'll be releasing tomorrow. That'll be releasing Tuesday. Because these pacifistas, these new pacifistas, they're tough. I'm not gonna lie. They're like, even Blackbeard himself was pushed back a little. It didn't take him out. This is still Blackbeard. This is Marshall D. Teach, so it didn't take him out, but it did manage to push him back a little. Like I said, he was using armament hockey to block the attacks. But he does manage to take it out. He uses Black Hole, eviscerates it. So it's not a problem to Blackbeard, obviously, because he's a Yonko. I could not, even if the world government released these new pacifistas and thought they could replace the warlords, maybe there's other ones with more abilities that we've yet to see in the future. But it's not gonna be a threat to a Yonko. But as well, again, while all this fighting is going on, Boa Hancock is shooting off the slave arrows and is hitting all the Marines. It's also hit Helmeppo. I'm like, it's Helmeppo. Who cares? Like, it's hit the vice admiral who was in charge of the whole operation, and Koby's shouting out, "Stop the pacifistas or he'll shatter everyone to stone." That's an order to stop. He's trying to order the pacifistas to stop. And just before Boa Hancock is about to release another attack, Blackbeard comes in and he manages to nullify her powers. Now bear in mind, this is a nice double. Now bear in mind, this is a nice wide, a double spread picture where we see Blackbeard and has managed to bring in Boa Hancock and negate her powers, so she can't use her love powers. She can't turn people to stone anymore right now, whilst Blackbeard has a hold of her. But one thing we do see that she did manage to hit Vasco Shot and Katarina Devon. And now she says, unhand me. Even if you kill me and take my powers, you won't be able to reverse what I've done to your subordinates. So we get to learn that thing about the love fruit, that even if Blackbeard was to take the powers and use it for his own, he wouldn't be able to undo anything that Boa Hancock did with that fruit. Now does that go for all devil fruits, or is it just Boa Hancock's? You guys tell me what you think down below. But I think this is a rule just for Boa's fruit in particular. See, guys, this is why I love One Piece, because this isn't even the best moment of the chapter, because Boa is still in the grasp of Blackbeard, and Boa does mention the power is nothing without my beauty. Now I personally think that Blackbeard could take this devil fruit and make it dangerously overpowered. Now imagine if Blackbeard took the love fruit, and again, people who have love or admiration for you, so he could use it on his own subordinates to turn them to stone. That's not really beneficial. But what if he managed to use his Conqueror's Haki? What if he used his Conqueror's Haki in a way in which he could awaken the love fruit and still reap the benefits of turning people to stone, but not just basing it on feelings of love or passion, as it were? That's just a theory that I just thought now whilst reading the chapter, because this is like my third time rereading it. Now, this is what happens. We see Blackbeard, and it's like, this is getting us nowhere, isn't it, Koby? Because Koby, he's still there. He's trying to. He's there. I think Koby wants to try to save Boa, but this is not going to work against Blackbeard. Koby does not stand a chance. We already know this. And he said, thanks to you, I was able to topple Wang Ji, a former member of the Rocks Pirates, making me the boss of the pirate island. So that's what happened. The Rocky Port incident involving Koby. So maybe Koby had orders to attack and take in Wang Ji. Blackbeard showed up. Maybe Blackbeard offered his assistance at the time, or he just attacked Wang Ji and Koby used it as an opportunity to take down this bigger threat. Because at the time, maybe Wang Ji was a bigger threat than Blackbeard. Who knows? I don't really believe that, but you guys tell me, Wang Ji fans, how strong do you think Wang Ji is if Blackbeard and Koby was able to take him out? Now Now Blackbeard says, if I let this woman go, do you think she'll play nice and turn my men back? I need to put my men back to normal too. If you both leave without trouble, I will do that. That's Boa. She says, if you both leave without trouble, I'll reverse the effects of the fruit and turn both forces back to normal. Now Blackbeard, he doesn't believe this. He says, no, you're lying. I'll let you go and then you'll turn me to stone next, and that's the end of it. It's impossible for any man not to fall under your spell. Showing how powerful her fruit is. Or maybe I'm thinking he's talking more about the fruit itself, because maybe the fruit as well enhances the person's physical attractiveness as well. Like, just like Alvida, who was, she was a bigger woman before she acquired the powers of her devil fruit and it slimmed her down. So maybe it has a similar thing where it can also make the person more beautiful, but maybe just Boa Hancock was that already, that superhuman, just that perfect, that the devil fruit, that extra ability had no effect on Boa Hancock. So this is where Blackbeard says, "No, I just have to kill her." And before he gets a chance, this is when the best part of the chapter in my eyes happens. Who else but the hand of the former king of the pirates, Silver's Rayleigh, the Dark King, arrives to save the day. He arrives and he's like, I expected the Marines to attack, but I never thought they would come this hard. Now even Blackbeard's a bit shook. Like, hey, you're Whitebeard's, and Rayleigh recognizes Teach straight away. He's like, oh, you were Whitebeard's cabin boy. This isn't very mature of you, but I've never liked you anyway. Because even Koby's freaking out right now. Rayleigh's on the scene. He says, Boa, undo the petrification and I'll mediate the situation from here. This is where nobody here is to overstep their bounds. Just behave yourselves and quietly leave the island. And that's what Rayleigh says. That's all he said. That's what he says after that. Now it pans back to the present day. This is the last 2 pages of the chapter, and we see Rayleigh there. He's there with Shaki, his wife, who we find out was the former captain of the Kuja pirates. That is how Rayleigh and Shaki met. Because a lot of people thought she was a part of the Rocks pirates. Maybe there was a point where she still was. We don't know her whole life, but she was the former captain of the Kuja pirates. But yeah, I already knew Shaki was powerful. We didn't know exactly how powerful she was, but we do see that she's the former captain, and we don't actually see her fight because when Rayleigh arrives, we just see him. It focuses on him. We see this in the present day, so and this is after everything's happened. Blackbeard's left, the Marines have left, and Rayleigh comments that since Vegapunk's Sea Prism Stone paddle ships, it means that the calm bout is no longer safe as it was before. Because now the Navy can just navigate through waters and avoid attacks by the Sea Kings. That was one major thing which stops free travel in the One Piece world, as like we already know. So now this is where they mention it was so strange because I could swear one of them looked identical to our sister as a child. So it says our sister, not a former member, and so this means that the Pacifista looked like a younger version of Boa Hancock. So it definitely means that somehow the world government are able to clone people and incorporate Lunarian DNA. Again, this is due to Vegapunk. So once we actually meet Vegapunk, I'm hoping that maybe next chapter we're going to see him. You guys tell me, do you think we're going to see Vegapunk in the next One Piece chapter? And this is the end of the chapter, guys. We see, right, that's right, we'll proceed to Egghead and dock the ship. As for the abducted Captain Koby, the hero of the Rocky Port incident, Captain Koby has been kidnapped by the Blackbeard pirates. How did he get captured? Was this something that Rayleigh had worked into the ceasefire? That Koby, you go with the Blackbeard pirates, or was this something that Koby initiated himself? Was this Blackbeard's idea? Again, that's the last thing we see of the chapter. So Blackbeard has Koby now. What's going on is Blackbeard. And it says status unknown, so we don't know if Koby's dead. I don't believe Koby's dead. You guys tell me what you think. Do you think Koby's just... Is that the end of Koby? You guys comment down below and tell me what you think. That's the end of the chapter. Like I said, you guys like the video, comment and tell me your guys' thoughts on the latest One Piece chapter. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm 36COF. You keep it fresh and keep it funky.